You're good. Hi, I'm Sal Malatesi from Malatesi Wine Cellars. Today we are going to show you how to replace a cam follower on a GAI 1301 bottling line. It is the cam follower for the corker pedestal. We had to do a little of this work on the fly one day, so we had removed this, beat the ever-living hell out of the existing cam follower to break it free until we can get a new one. So today we're going to show you how to replace the new one. Some of the tools you're going to need to do the job, a couple of different style or size metric wrenches and sockets, or either or, 17 millimeter being the most common one. You'll need some flathead screwdrivers, a punch. I prefer to use a brass punch because I don't want to damage any of the steel components, and a ball peen hammer is always helpful, in addition to a good set of hex head wrenches or Allen keys, whatever you like to call them. First part of this, just to give you a little backstory, we contacted our local service rep, and after they looked at the drawings, they were unaware of how to tell us how to repair this. So they were going to email Italy, and we didn't have time because we had wine in the bottling line that needed to be finished. So like I said, we worked through it quickly, got it repaired enough to finish the bottling, and now we're going to replace it with a new cam follower. For those of you who don't know what a cam follower is, it's basically like a bearing. This particular one is a roller type. There are a multitude of different types of cam followers on the market, but this is a roller type which sits on a shaft inside the pedestal. We'll start by taking off the corker pedestal, and then after that we'll take a quick break and show you the rest. Pretty simple. It's 4 bolts, holds this down. Now just be aware that this is spring loaded, which is what you're going to need the other tools for, the flathead screwdrivers, as we were unable to get the exact way to do this from the manufacturer, and we decided to learn on our own. We'll show you our way of disassembling this. That's good.
Go ahead.
One thing we forgot to mention is to be able to get the corker lift out of the machine, you're going to need to remove basically what pushes up the bottle. It's pretty simple. It's just 3 socket head cap screws. Makes it a little bit easier to remove the pedestal from the bottling line. Now with the corker assembly, the corker pedestal out of the bottling line, you'll see that this is the cam follower that we're going to need to replace. Now you see it's working right now, and that's only because we broke it free. But being proactive, we want to replace that with a new one, and we can always keep the one that we freed up and got cleaned up as a spare in case we ever have an emergency again. So there's 2 socket head cap screws that are going to need to be removed in order to proceed. This one in here is what's going to loosen the shaft, and this one in here is just part of the assembly, which makes us allows us to turn this brass section and push it up into place so that we can rotate this steel section, which holds the cam follower, into place, which will allow us to get to the shaft, to drive the shaft out of the unit, which is what's holding the cam follower. So we'll start with what appears to be a number 6. Excuse me. Okay, pause that for a minute. All right, so we have a number 6 metric Allen key or hex head wrench. We'll take this out. Very simple. And what you have now, with a small pair of pliers, move some parts. All right, there's a steel housing and a brass as well. Now, what you'll notice is this is what the spring is inside here, and this whole assembly is spring loaded, and that's how the cam, the lobe, I should say, the cam lobe follows against this, and it pushes this up and down, which is what moves the bottle up and down. We need to replace this, and to do so, we need to be able to get to different parts. But you see, there's no access to the shaft in order to get it out. So what we found is that if you hold the brass and turn the steel, you can then work your way around and get to the shaft. So we'll show you that in a minute. Let's get this back to position where it was, which is right there. Now, here's the interesting part. Pause that. All right, so what we're going to want to do now is kind of a little bit difficult and sometimes can require an extra set of hands. But this brass piece needs to slide up, which is spring-loaded, and needs to be held in place and kept there with a screwdriver. So if we move up the part, you'll see there's an additional opening right here, which allows us to get to that bearing and hold this into place. Now we go to our smaller Allen key to loosen the shaft. That's more than enough. And now, as you see, we can turn this. Pause that. All right, now that we've got the brass piece locked into place here, you'll see the shaft is loosened, and this is what needs to be driven out so that we can get to the cam follower. So like I said previously, I'd prefer to use a brass punch just in case we hit something we're not supposed to. We won't damage anything. And it's always nice if you have a vise, but being a winery, I don't happen to have one handy. There's our old cam follower. Here's our new cam follower. Fits in perfectly. Now, you'll notice that there's an indentation. This is for the set screw. You can start off gently hitting it with that and then finishing it with a All right, almost done. All right, be sure to get that set screw into the groove of the shaft, or else your brass part will not come down all the way. Now we're going to rotate this back into place. You'll see there's our shaft, and if we rotate it the rest of the way, you'll find our opening for the parts that we have to put back in here to hold this all back together. You're going to have to give a little push up on this to get this to fall into place. It's pretty simple. And put this back. And you're all set. Brand new cam follower. Pretty simple fix. Took a little bit of thought to get it the first time, but once you've done it once, which hopefully you won't have to do it a second time, it's a pretty easy job. Make sure you keep it lubed up, keep some nice grease on your cam, which we're going to do now, and just put everything back the way you found it. I'd say like this for more instructional videos, but this is probably going to be the only one I ever do. Thanks very much, and if anybody has any questions, you can always email salthewineguy@gmail.com. Again, that's salthewineguy@gmail.com. Thank you.